Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan, once more with you from your very own channel Astro Assurance. Today's video is about how you should look at and utilize the moon Lagna chart and how you can see how the mind is being influenced and how the mind is taking you in a certain direction and how it will manifest a lot of results for you. Now this I wanted to make from some time. However, it got triggered a little early because of my Navmansh Ascendant video which I made couple of days back and I posted. Now, why it got triggered early is because I got some of the comments, especially for Scorpio Lagna in the Navmansh, that my Scorpio Ascendant Navmansh does not reflect what I truly am, what I truly think or act like. And this came from 2 or 3 people. Now let me tell you, I myself am a Scorpio Ascendant in my Navmansh. So I know what I am talking about when I am saying that this is how Scorpio people manifest results. The reason being is that many times we don't know how to utilize the Lagnas. For example, when you look at an Ascendant in the D1 chart, should that Ascendant in the D1 chart define you more? Or should the Navmansh define you more? Just think about it. For example, if you are born in any of the water signs, Cancer or Scorpio or Pisces, then you will never have a Navmansh which will be of Aries or of Taurus or of Gemini. What does that mean? Does it mean that all these people who are born in the water signs, they will not be having a dynamic personality like Aries, or they will not be strong-headed, sticking to values and traditions like a Taurus person, or be very skilled in their communication skill, or be dual-minded like the Gemini people, very savvy in their and sophisticated in their language, in their communication? None of the water signs will have this. Is this what you are saying? Think about it. Think deeply. What should really define you? Should your D1 Ascendant define you, or your Navmansh Ascendant define you? Now I'll give you a tip. Go and watch the videos of other astrologers who have made a video on the D1 chart being the Scorpio Lagna, for example. Then go and watch their Navmansh Scorpio Ascendants. You will find more or less they're saying the same thing, which means if your D1 chart defining you or your Navmansh chart defining you, or in your Navmansh, if your Scorpio Ascendant, should you be slightly different or very different from your Scorpio in your D1 chart. And why I am saying this is because if you look at your life, what is your Navmansh? Navmansh is not how you think. Navmansh is how you face situations in your life and have you learned from your experiences. Experiences not only about how you think. Experiences are, you met with an accident. The accident was not created by you. You didn't think about the accident, but it happened to you. After that, how you use your analytical skills, Mercury comes into the picture. How do you use your wisdom? Jupiter comes into the picture. How you make your choices? Again, Mercury comes into the picture. How tactful are you? Rahu comes into the picture. Do you follow rules and regulations? Saturn comes into the picture. Where is Moon? Only responsible for your Navmansh. So different planetary placements come into play because of how you act in that situation, and you act in that situation not based only by a Navmansh, because this is your Navmansh Ascendant and this is how you will be thinking. It is based on planetary placement reflected to that situation in your Lagna chart. Say for example, if Jupiter is strong in your 8th house, then in challenges in your life, in sudden obstacles in challenges in your life, you will be more wise because Jupiter is strong in your 8th house. Now if in your Navmansh chart Jupiter is in the debilitation sign or in a spot of bother, which means in spite of your wisdom, that may not work for you. You may be wise, telling somebody, okay, the accident was mine, or let's do a compromise. So you are playing a wise person, but the opposite person may say, no, I am not going to do that. I am going to take you to court. So in spite of you being wise, in spite of you making the right choice, other person may haul you to court. That is what your Navmansh tells you. Navmansh doesn't tell you how you think, how you act. Navmansh tell you what is the higher probability of events happening. and are you learning from those experiences? Now, if your Navmansh Lagna is not reflecting a lot about how you are in your life, which means you are not learning from your experiences, you are not imbibing from the surrounding what is happening in your life, you are more or less living your life by default. There is less design on how you think, how you imbibe experiences, and how those experiences shape you as a person. And that you see most from your Moon Lagna, which is how your mind is shaped by situations around you. You act in a certain manner, you think in a certain manner. So today I am going to show you, if you truly want to see how you would think and how something shapes your personality, you should be looking at your D1 chart and your Moon Lagna. Moon Lagna means whichever house and sign moon is placed at the time of your birth. That to a large extent tells you how the thinking, the mind is shaping your personality, your thought process, your values, because of the circumstances around you, because you are learning from those circumstances. So if you are growing up in a certain neighborhood, that neighborhood shapes you. If you are brought up in a certain environment, in a certain culture, that culture shapes you. But everybody doesn't become a part of that culture. Many people take a different tangent, which means they were able to deeply look at the culture. They like certain things, they did not like certain things, so they went off on a different tangent in spite of their surroundings. And such stories you find many. For example, if you look at the life of Oprah Winfrey, what humble surroundings, background did she come from? Where did she end up? If you look at the life of Dhirubhai Ambani, again what humble backgrounds he came from and where did he end up? So this is about how around the circumstances that you find yourself in, how do you utilize them and shape your mind, your thoughts, and then later on your actions shape many situations and events in your life also. So I am going to tell you how to look at your Moon Lagna and from that ascertain how certain things impacted your life. Now, how are you shaped? As I said, in which environment you grew up, but also what were the situations around you, what are the tragedies that you face, what are the losses that you face, what are the turbulations that happen in the house while you're growing up. And hence the first 15 to 16 years are the formative years, and they're the most important because they shape you into the person that you become. So I want to show through a certain personality's life how the ups and downs in the person's life shaped his personality and he ended up what he became, and you will be able to see that stronger from his Moon Lagna and to an extent from the D1 chart. Situations what he faced, what manifested in his life, of course you will be able to see more clearer from the Navmansh, what ultimately happened. However, what shaped his mind, how he thought, because that eventually led to many actions in his life, that you will be seeing from the Moon Lagna. Apart from the transits, we also see from the Moon Lagna, but transits you should see from both the D1 chart as well as from the Moon Lagna, and not only from the Moon Lagna or only from the D1 chart. So I want to bring up the life a gentleman by the name Steve Jobs, somebody who is an iconic name, somebody you associate with Apple computers. However, he is somebody who is much more iconic in not only the field of computers but in the field of creativity, and how his creativity has brought about a huge change in how the industry thinks, how the industry utilizes technology and creativity, and how that opens up the world of different possibilities for us, different avenues for us. So let's jump into the life of Steve Jobs, focusing on his Moon Lagna to show how eventually we are shaped by the surrounding that we are in, and that whole sway over our thinking rather than only the D1 chart and not to a large extent the Navmansh. So Steve Jobs horoscope for you. Now this is Steve Jobs 3 charts. This is his Lagna chart, this is a Navmansh chart, and this is his Moon chart. I put all the three side by side so that we can look at how different situations in his life manifested different areas for him, and how he shaped his personality, and how certain things are more strongly seen from the D1 chart, certain things are seen from the Navmansh chart, but the Moon chart tells you most how he was sensitively affected and what shaped his mind, what went through his mind, and eventually made him what he is, what he became. Now if you know the life of Steve Jobs, His father was a Muslim. His name was Abdul Fattah Jadali, and his mother was an American. He was conceived actually in Syria, where his mom and his father stayed, because his father was a Syrian. However, when his mother conceived him, she, even without letting his father know, flew out to the US to give birth to Steve Jobs in the United States. And this also became a bone of contention between her and Steve Jobs' father, and that became also the cause for their estrangement. Steve Jobs was born in San Francisco in the US. Now, in his Lagna chart, his Lagna Lord Sun is placed in the 7th house. So it does not give you the situations in which he was born, that he was conceived in a certain country and he was moved out while in his mother's womb to another country. That you can see a bit from the Navamsa chart, because in his Navamsa chart, Jupiter rules his Lagna and is placed retrograde in the 7th house, but with Rahu. And Jupiter also rules his 4th house. However, how it affected his mind can be seen more from the moon chart. Why from the moon chart? Because his Lagna Lord in the moon chart is Jupiter, and Jupiter is placed in the 4th house, but with Ketu, which means that in his home where he was conceived, which should actually be demonstrated by the 4th house, in his 4th house Jupiter is placed retrograde and with Ketu, and hence this impacted him deeply, because he came from a certain background, the roots of which he was not able to shake off easily, and that also caused the estrangement with his father. He lost his father because of his mother moving away on the sly, away from the country of his father and moving to the United States without informing him. Now, after she came to the US and gave birth to him, she put him up for adoption. And again, the moon chart tells you how he faced that situation when he was estranged from his mother as well. Because here, the lord of the 4th house is Mercury, and Mercury is retrograde in his horoscope, and Mercury is placed in the 11th house. But Ketu is placed in the 4th house, which means he craved for his mother or motherly love, which he didn't get. And his mother, the planet which denotes mother in his moon chart, which is Mercury, is both retrograde, and Ketu is placed in the 4th house, which shows that he was impacted by both, not being able to be with his father and his mother. In his Lagna chart, his 9th Lord Mars is very strong in the own sign, as well as in his Navamsa, Sun rules the 9th house and is placed in the 2nd house of family itself. But his moon chart tells what is the actual story about his father. Here, in his moon chart, Sun rules the 6th house of enemies, inimical forces, and goes in the 12th house in the sign of Aquarius, ruled by Saturn, which shows that after he lost his father because of his mother and father falling out, his father objected to he being adopted by a family which his mother proposed. He objected to him going and living and being brought up in the United States. So his mother shaped his initial thought process of turning his father almost into an enemy, and father, Sun being placed in the 12th house, was father being placed in a foreign land away from him and estranged from him, and he never being able to see his father. That is also because Ketu aspects Sun in the 12th house. So Ketu being in the 4th house meant that he felt the missing of both his father and mother in his growing up years. The second thing, if you look at in his career, in the Lagna chart, Venus and Rahu are placed together in the 5th house, and Venus rules his 10th house. This shows that using his creativity and using his out of the box thinking, doing something in the area what he loves to do, what he likes to do, that Lord, 10th Lord Venus, comes and gets placed in the 5th house, which shows a very strong inclination towards getting into IT. However, how was he thinking? His thinking is seen from the moon chart, very strongly seen. Why? Because Of course, moon will be in the Lagna because it is the moon chart. However, moon rules the 5th house here and now goes into the Lagna. So the connection of his personality itself being shaped by his creativity, by his thinking of making what he loves to do as something which he also stands for, what defines him, and hence his 5th lord going into the Lagna in the sign of Jupiter, which also rules the 10th house, and both Venus and Rahu now going into the 10th house of career, while moon goes into the sign ruled by the Lagna lord, and Jupiter aspecting Venus and Rahu in the 10th house, which means his creativity defined his career, and Venus and Rahu going into the 10th house in the sign of Sagittarius. Sagittarius is known for adventure. Sagittarius is known for adventurous actions and using your learning and your thinking to define you. But where did he start his work? He started his work at home. In fact, in his bedroom, in his adopted parents' house. What is your bedroom or your home? The 4th house. So the 10th lord going into the 4th house under the aspect of Venus, which is also the lord of the 3rd house of effort, and the 3rd house is also about self-enterprise, something that you want to do on your own, and that lord goes and gets placed in the 10th house, aspects Jupiter in the 4th house, which means his career started at home. Why? Because that's what he wanted, that's what his thinking was. He wanted to drop out of college, he wanted to do something out of home and use his creativity and his out of the box thinking, and that's what he did. And his moon Lagna clearly shows his thought process. What eventually happened can be seen from the Navamsha chart, where his 10th lord Mercury goes into the sign of Cancer in the 8th house, which means that his career was defined by high creativity and something which is a virtual world, which computers are, with Mercury going into the 8th house and Mercury's other sign having Saturn, Jupiter and Rahu, and both Saturn and Jupiter aspecting the Lagna where Venus is placed. So the 11th lord going into the Lagna, which shows high success, societal success in the field of computers, in the field of IT. But that came about because of his Lagna showing in the 5th house Venus and Rahu place, while Venus ruling his 10th house, and the lord of the 5th house Jupiter going into the 11th house. So the Lagna chart is showing what he is born with. The moon chart shows what he eventually did, and the Navman shows what was the final outcome. So if he was not able to utilize his mind in a certain manner, in a certain perspective, learning from his surroundings, learning from what he grew up with, his Navmansh would not have given him the results what eventually gave him. And that's why the moon chart becomes very, very important, because the moon shows you in what direction you're moving, how you think, how you manifest results, how you use your learning, your experiences, and that shapes your mind, and that eventually leads you to action, that eventually gives you the results which to a large extent the Navmansh shows. That's why a lot of people say that Navmansh becomes your horoscope later in life. Why? Because you use your moon, your mind, your experiences to shape your personality, and through learning from experiences, learning from the environment, eventually you make things happen in a certain direction, and that's what the Navmansh also do. Now another incident in his life is also about his tryst with spirituality, where he went to the ashrama of Nil Karoli Baba, then on to another ashrama, was in India for a long time, and then eventually went back, a different man, a changed man. This can also be seen from his moon Lagna, how it shaped his personality, because moon is going into the sign of Pisces in the Lagna, and Jupiter, which rules the Lagna, is placed with Ketu in the sign of Gemini, ruled by Mercury, which means his choices in his life was also shaped by the spirituality which defined him, because of Ketu being placed with Jupiter and moon going into the sign of Pisces in the moon Lagna. Now how did he die? He died because of pancreatic cancer, and he died in the hospital after a long bout of illness. Now his 12th lord moon going into the 8th house definitely shows that he was hospitalized and there are challenges. However, this is more of a sudden event. This does not show a chronic event over a period of time. Secondly, his Navmansh also shows only to some degree, that is 8th lord going in debilitation into the 12th house and he eventually leaving the world because of that. But that it was a chronic ailment and that affected him deeply is seen from the moon chart. Why? Because his 6th lord of illness, Sun, that is going into the 12th house in an inimical sign ruled by Saturn. The 6th house is what defines your visceral organs, which is also the pancreas, and yet pancreatic cancer. And Ketu also aspects Sun, which rules the 6th house in the 12th house. And Ketu is also the planet which defines living or giving up. So he did fight his illness because of Mars being placed in the 6th house. So he did fight his illness for some time. However, what eventually came up can be seen stronger in the moon chart, where he gave up his fight with pancreatic cancer and eventually he left the world. So friends, when you see your life, how different situations are panning out, you look at the D1 for what are the probabilities which may be coming about, what the horoscope has given you, and that happens at the time of your birth. The Lagna chart doesn't change throughout your life, but neither does your moon chart or your Navmansh change. But the moon chart will show you what you will be doing with those experiences, how it will shape your thought process and how the different situations will manifest. However, this is only a probability which the D1 chart shows. Navmansh shows how whether you will eventually use those probabilities or not, or how you will make those things happen, and that will be more later in life using your experiences. And hence the Navmansh becomes more and more integrated into your life events over a period of time. So generally by the time you hit your late 20s or 30s or 40s, for some people it is much early, for some people it kicks in later. It all depends on how you are utilizing your surroundings, your experiences, your learning, and using that to be able to get on with your life and get things happening. Now everything will not happen according to your Navmansh also, because you are living in a societal world, you are living in a social world. How people allow you to manifest those things will also to a large extent define whether you will eventually get there or not. So the extent to which you will get the success in which area, Navmansh to a certain extent will tell you that. However, to the extent that you can define success is only up to you, and for that you need to depend more on your moon chart and see whether you are utilizing those experiences or not, how your mind is thinking. And hence moon's placement in a certain house when the dasha of a certain planet is on will tell you how the thinking process will be, whether you will be frustrated, whether you will be motivated, whether you will be invigorated to do something or not. That's why it is said that the Sade Sati plays such a strong effect on us. Why? Because the Sade Sati happens over your moon, and hence in the moon Lagna is the ascendant, and so with Saturn is going over your ascendant, it defines how you think, how frustrated you get, how anxious you are. In the penultimate house shows your losses. In the next house, in the second house from the moon chart, shows how your income also gets affected, and then Sade Sati is said to bring about certain tough situations in your life, because the Saturn is going over your 12th house from your moon Lagna, then over your ascendant itself again from your moon Lagna, and then over your second house of income. And transits are generally seen from the moon Lagna, of course also taking into picture the D1 chart. That's how your mind shapes your personality, the thought process, your emotions, your frustrations, and hence the moon chart should be seen for how your thinking is, how your choices you make, how you're imbibing or absorbing things from the society, and how you will be utilizing them to define results in your life eventually. So friends, look at your moon Lagna and see how moon is placed, what aspects it is getting from which houses, because those will be shaping your personality, shaping your thinking. When you're looking at the moon chart, moon is in the Lagna, then see what are the aspects which are happening from the Dusthanas, what are the aspects which are happening from the 5th or the 9th house, from the trine houses, because those will show how certain events in your life will shape how you think. So in your moon Lagna, you will be able to see how the 5th house of children, when they are born, affects your thinking. Then the 10th house lord, what relations it is forming with the moon will show how if you don't get growth, if you are not getting the job that you supposed to get, or you are not being able to get ahead in career, how it is affecting your mind, how it is affecting your emotions. Saturn will tell you how, whether you become more manipulative, along with Rahu also giving you the tact, the diplomacy, the manipulation, and whether something slows you down. Saturn pulls on the, tugs on the strings of your thinking, of your emotions and your empathy, and whether it allows you to develop the empathy or not. Steve Jobs was not supposed to be a person who had any empathy at all for his colleagues or the people who work for him. For him, the outcome of his project was most important for him, and hence many a times he was not seen as a good human being. However, his moon chart will tell you that how he missed his mother, he missed his father, and the events of his life shaped him for becoming what he eventually became, a more greedy person, a more selfish person, but a truly iconic superstar in the achievement that he did. So friends, like this video, share this video, and if you're looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the links given below. Until some other time with some other video, this is your friend Astrology and Guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.